A great tribute to Leicester, whose method of beating the weather is a lot cheaper than most sides and a lot more effective. And Moran immediately strays into an offside position, but you can see how green and obviously playable the pitch is. A system that Leicester paid less than £10,000 for some 10 years ago, and it's paid handsome dividends. Peak. And Kelly takes over. O'Neill. And the linesman on the far side was flagging then, I suspect because Alan Young was backing into Chris Nicol. Southampton's free kick. Alan Ball heading it on. Free kick given Leicester's way. O'Neill finding Peak with that quick free kick. Turned on again towards Lineker, who got away well. And Katalinic got out in the nick of time. Deserved applause for Lineker, who really showed a quick turn of pace then to get away from the defender. The ball just ran too far ahead of him, and that allowed the goalkeeper to come out and smother. Shannon the target, never reached him though. Wilson in the way, and Linex doing well to return the ball to him. Lineker on a good run on the edge of the box. Oh, and the dummy really was not necessary. Young was much too far away from him. It was a good build-up down the left by Leicester City. Wilson and Linex combining well. When it was played in, Lineker obviously thought that Young was much closer to him, allowed the ball to run through, and Southampton said thank you. O'Neill winning it from Keegan. Kelly on to Ball, another former Arsenal man. Here's Williams. Steve Williams, that is. There are two Williams on the field, one on each side. Only one Larry May, as the crowd might say. Holmes. Over the head of Tommy Williams, and Keegan gets in behind both defenders. That was a brilliant effort on the part of Keegan and the goalkeeper. A superb through ball. Keegan, with that ability to dart in behind defenders, got in on the blind side of those two Leicester men. Realised it had to be a first-time effort, and Wallington responded brilliantly. Ball takes the kick. Flat. Was that handball? It looked like it by Keegan. Oh, the referee says play on. Away by Larry May. There's Waldron. Straight to Young. And Wilson, and now an interesting counter-attack on here for Leicester. Well, it could have been. It should have been. The ball was sadly out of touch. Here's Alan Ball. Keegan's made another fine run. Didn't quite reach him though. Wilson getting in the way. He tangled with Williams, and the referee's given the free kick to Leicester. O'Neill with the kick. Bad one, straight to Armstrong. Ball. Moran. He made the interception. And Wilson deciding that when you're facing your own goal, that's the best way to play the ball. Again, a good deep kick there from Wallington over everyone's heads. Young nearly got a touch to it. Armstrong back to clear for Southampton. As far only as Tommy Williams. Played in quickly, and that was sensible, but Katalinic read it well. Good header by Keegan. And the better one by O'Neill. Moran thumping it forward. Young. Here's Alan Ball. Straight at Kelly. Oh, and a great first-time ball for Lineker to chase. Holmes getting in again, and that was dangerously close to his own goal. And that all stemmed from a superb through ball by Eddie Kelly. Kelly sizing up the situation so quickly. Played a 50-60-yard ball down the centre of the field. Lineker onto it in a flash. Holmes just got a boot in the way. It very nearly went for an own goal. Leicester have to settle for a corner. And the header by May, only just wide. Well, it shows you the value of having the two big centre-backs forward. As that corner came over, O'Neill was standing in the line of vision of goalkeeper Katalinic, and that may have helped Larry May to get in that header, only just wide. Shannon there before Pryor. And May there before Keegan. Williams throw, Keegan. Williams again. Ball wanting it short. Armstrong. Allen ball again. Good ball for Holmes. Now he's got time. Good looking cross, away by O'Neill. Holmes in again for Southampton. Williams clearance, finding ball. Played in towards Keegan. Here's Armstrong. And it just bounced awkwardly for him. Ball involved in the build-up to that at two stages. Keegan with a little flick header back into space. And as the ball dropped for Armstrong, it just bounced a little too high for him, and he lifted his shot over the bar. Young getting in first. And now Wilson for Leicester. Lineker's continuing his run forward. Here's Young. Good challenge. And again by Golak. Pryor finding Young, and the layoff for Wilson. Young again. Away by Holmes, and that was a vital clearance for Southampton. Good play, that. Pryor's going to try, I think, a long throw in here. No, short for Lineker. For Linex rather, and that's more like it. A real up and under. Katalinic gets there, driven back by Peake, and that's 1-0. And the goalkeeper made a mistake, which Young punished superbly. Joyous scenes for Leicester City, but not for this man Katalinic, who shows his disappointment as Alan Young shows his delight. It all stemmed really from that short throw-in taken by Pryor. He got the ball back and really thumped a high dropping ball. Katalinic came for it and didn't make proper contact. As the ball was played back in, Young hammered it into the corner. That's Leicester City 1, Southampton 0. We really have a cup tie now. So Young's second goal of the season, having just returned after a lengthy injury, has really set the second division side up for another marvellous cup tie here at Filbert Street. Southampton, fancied by many people as a good cup bet this season, have got their work on now just to save this tie. Waldron failed to save that throw-in. And Pryor, whose throw led to the goal, and whose long kick into the middle also helped, finds Lineker. And again, he shows such sharpness that he wins the free kick for Leicester. Waldron not happy with the award, and not happy, I should think, either with the way Lineker's got away from him so often in these opening 20 minutes. Danger again then for Southampton. May getting up, but Katalinic this time with a safe pair of hands. And a good kick too. Kelly in behind Keegan and Pryor. Good tackle by Shannon. But Eddie Kelly really playing a vital role here, brought into the side for his experience and know-how, and demonstrating both those qualities superbly. And he used his hands then fairly obviously. Lineker. Nicol finding Shannon. Pryor right behind him. Golak. Williams. They're having a fair old battle, those two. Here's Steve Williams again. And once more, Wilson gets in to nick it from him. And this has got the makings of a really good cup tie at the moment. There's a little bit of physical interest, shall we say, in the tackles. Speed and pace from both sides, particularly from Leicester City. A good atmosphere. Back for Tommy Williams. Peak with Armstrong very close to him, did well to make a cross. Oh, what a superb goal! And Young has made it 2-0. And that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And no wonder those Leicester fans are ecstatic. Superb goal. Peak with the cross from a tight position near the corner flag. Alan Young came in on the near post. A bullet headed into the corner. And Alan Young has scored his second of the match. Leicester City 2, Southampton 0. And what a marvellous way to send his side into a 2-goal lead. So it's Southampton 2-0 down with less than 20 minutes of the first half remaining. Really shaken by those two superb goals by the big Scotsman Young. Here's Shannon. Southampton will need every drop of their experience now as Wilson brings down Steve Williams and may well get a ticking off at the very least from referee Newsom. And again the free kick quickly taken, but too quickly for the referee's liking. Well, it's got all the ingredients now. Southampton second in the table as Wilson gets a telling off, finding themselves going 2 behind in the first 25 minutes. That's Williams' free kick, it's a good one. And away by Larry May to Ball. Keegan holding off play as well. Waldron's having an unhappy afternoon at the moment. And Young's having a great one. Here's Steve Williams. Shannon. And the cross was disappointing. So just a minute to half-time. And what a great first half for Leicester. As Young, the man who's made it great, wins the ball again. Here's Tommy Williams. O'Neill. Williams once more. Good layoff by Young to Kelly. And Nicol went in a little strong then. Leicester's free kick. Kelly's kick. Oh, it just stretched too far ahead of Larry May then. And also Linex, who came thundering in from the far side. Lineker again creating space. Not a bad looking cross. Moran for Southampton. And they're battling well here, Leicester. Perhaps a little too well at times. Free kick taken quickly by Golak. And via Williams, it's Shannon in possession. Oh, did well. Oh, and it's... No! Did it go in or did it not? The referee has looked at the linesman, the players are all round him protesting, and the referee has in fact given the goal. So Southampton pull one back. As that cross came in, Kevin Keegan got up. Wallington seemed to miss the ball as it came in from the right wing, and as it dropped towards the goal line, a defender was on the line, tried to clear. It seemed to me, I must admit, that it had actually gone over the line. The referee looked to his linesman, he signalled a goal, and a goal it is. So, Southampton pull one back in the final seconds of the first half. And that's the end of a very eventful first half. Particularly for this man, Alan Young, who scored 2 goals, the second of them quite superb. And then, in the final seconds of the first half, it was Southampton skipper Kevin Keegan who pulled one back. And that goal is a lifeline for Southampton as they go into the second half against a very spirited Leicester City. So Kevin Keegan gets the second half underway with that goal seconds before half-time, having given his side a lifeline against the Leicester side, who played some very bright football in the first half. Nicol did well, so did Peak. What a good save again by Katalinic. Well, Nicol climbed highest that time, but was unlucky to see his clearance drop perfectly into the path of Andy Peak, whose right foot shot from 20 yards really brought the best out of Katalinic. Oh, and it came a free ball then to O'Neill. Remarkable incident, really. As the corner came over, everyone seemed to freeze, O'Neill included. When finally he realised the shot was on, he swung at the ball, and it was virtually an air shot. Moran. Ball. Keegan. Oh, Leicester will be pleased if he keeps going that way. Holmes. Keegan. Moran. Southampton having a lot of possession, but Leicester defending well. Golak. Good run by Shannon. And May just allowed him to make the mistake. Laurie McMenemy down on the touchline because he wants to make a substitution. And what a bold move it is. He's taken off Chris Nicol, the centre-half, and replaced him with Danny Wallace, the 19-year-old winger. Well, at this stage of an FA Cup tie, you've got to do something adventurous, and you could hardly have anything more adventurous than that. Nicol, the centre-half, goes off to be replaced by an attacking player, and Southampton have used their final trump card now, with 18 minutes of the match remaining. It'll be interesting to see how they rearrange each side against Lineker. Looks though Holmes has pulled into a central defensive position. Here's Keegan. Again, the kick quickly taken. Moran. Shannon. Golak. He's given it away, and that's suicidal at this stage. May prepared to go it alone. He spread it out to Lineker. Young arriving quickly in the box. May is still forward. Lineker finding Williams. The goalkeeper did well. Armstrong. Oh, and Lineker's won it back superbly. Young. Lineker. And that might well have been the clinching goal. And strangely enough, it was Lineker who missed it, whose endeavour and never-say-die attitude created danger. It looked as though Southampton were in control of that situation. Lineker won the ball back, combined with Young. When he played it back to him, Lineker probably should have done better with the shot. Southampton relieved to see that go wide. Williams goes forward for them. Here's Wallace, first touch. Could have been a goal, but O'Neill blocked it. The pressure really on now from the First Division side. Ball. Given away. Oh, and a great ball by Peak. Young chasing. And he's won it too. Could this be his hat-trick? Oh, so unlucky. What a great long ball from the back by Peak. Young got in behind Waldron. Went steaming towards goal. Katalinic came out to narrow the angle. He clipped the shot superbly, and it just went onto that post. Tipped there by Katalinic for a corner. Jock Wallace trying to reorganise things, having just seen Young so close to a hat-trick. Line X with the back header. Goal kick. Jim Melrose, the striker. And the record Leicester City bye about to come on. And Alan Young, the hero of the day, will be the man to come off. Listen to the roar. Tremendous applause for Alan Young. His 2 goals have taken Leicester to within a few minutes of a famous victory here. Holmes. Here's Melrose. That's not a bad first touch, is it? Well, tried to be too exact and it still might reach Lineker. That's the winner. And if ever a man threatened to get a goal, it's Gary Lineker. Joyous scenes around Filbert Street. It looked as though the danger was gone. Melrose, beautiful skill on the halfway line, took the ball through. Alan Ball looked as though he'd intercepted and cut out the danger. Lineker, who's been so persistent throughout, was persistent again, slid the shot into the corner. That's Leicester City 3, Southampton 1. Southampton still going forward in hope. Shannon. Wallace. Easy for Peake. And Williams clearing. Whoops, Eddie Kelly, completely missed kick. Here's Keegan. And Kelly got back to deflect Keegan's attempted cross behind for a corner and leave the Southampton captain lying in agony. Nothing to do with Kelly. It was a perfectly fair tackle by him. I feel that Keegan may have twisted a knee or an ankle, and immediately calling for the physio, and with problems with the scoreline. The last thing that Southampton want is problems with their captain. The referee decides to allow the game to continue with the Southampton corner. O'Neill away. And the sad sight for Southampton on a sad day as Tommy Williams does superbly well. And there the Southampton and England captain led off on a stretcher. Leicester City, who've yo-yoed between the first and second divisions during the last 4 seasons, have always felt they've got a potential first division side. Now can celebrate a famous win. Leicester City 3, Southampton 1, and many people's FA Cup favourites, Southampton, go out. Lineker with a vital goal, the third killer goal as Southampton had pressed forward, threatening an equaliser. And to complete this day of sadness for Southampton, in the final minutes of the game, they lost their captain and England skipper Kevin Keegan with what looked like an unpleasant injury. A day of celebrations, though, for second division Leicester City. 2 goals by Alan Young, 1 by Lineker, giving us that final scoreline of Leicester 3, Southampton 1.
Well, I don't know what you thought at home, but our little panel of 3 here thought that Tommy Williams headed Southampton's goal, not Kevin Keegan. But fortunately, we can't change history. Well, it means yet another surprise from today's games, but without question, Leicester deserved to win that match. A fact sportingly acknowledged by a disappointed Laurie McMenemy afterwards. But first, what about Kevin Keegan's injury?
He heard a bit of a crack when he went down, and as a precaution he came off on a stretcher, really, because he couldn't put his weight on it. And the medical people here have had a look at it. Even they've had an orthopaedic surgeon in, which we're grateful to Leicester for, and he doesn't think there's any break at all, so we can take Kevin back with us, and we've arranged for our people at the far end to have an x-ray as soon as we get home. So I think it'll be probably something which will just take maybe a few days to show itself, but it certainly isn't an obvious break at the minute.
Jock, a marvellous performance, and what must have pleased you more than anything was the way you got 110% virtually from every one of your players.
Well, they've played hard, they train hard, these lads. We train three afternoons a week, and we work on our technique and our tactics and our conditioning and all the rest of it. And we work very, very hard, and it proved it today that some of it's coming to fruition. The way Young took the goals has delighted me, because that's when I think he's good in the box. And he comes wandering a wee bit too much out of the box to help other lads. That's the honesty of the man. But he's taken his goals well, and I think Lineker deserved a goal because he had a tremendous running game for us today. And when this lad Lineker starts taking his chances a wee bit more often, then we've got a fine, fine player in our hand.
Well, tried to be too exact, and it still might reach Lineker. That's the winner. As an ardent Scot, it must have disappointed you having to miss out on Hogmanay because you had a match coming up. Will you make up for that tonight?
Oh, about 200 or 300% tonight.
It's like your team.
That malt whiskey will get hiding tonight. So all right. Don't we deserve it? So we're not drowning our sorrows, we're celebrating. There's a wee difference, you know.
You've now gone out of 3 competitions at an early stage. Can you hold them together now in the league? That's the big question.
Well, we can't go out the league, can we?
Well, I hope not, and thank goodness for that. The league would be that much poorer without them. As would tonight's programme if it didn't include a cup tie with the possibility of a David slaying a Goliath. And that's why we go now to the sloping ground of non-leaguers Barnet, who've been dreaming for 17 days of conquering Brighton and Hove Albion from the First Division. Your commentator, John Motson.
When the BBC resumed normal broadcasting after the war, the first football match to be televised came from this little ground at Underhill. Barnet were the FA Amateur Cup holders at the time, and down the years they've become known for their lively cup tradition and their unusual sloping pitch, which, as you can see, falls away from left to right. The present Barnet team play in the Alliance League. They're part-timers, but there are 3 names there who've had Football League experience. Number 6, Russell Townsend, number 9, Gary Sargent, and number 11, Danny Westwood, recently signed from Gillingham. Number 2, Mike Pittaway, who'll play in midfield today, was an Arsenal professional up to last season. And the team is managed by Barry Fry, one of the most popular characters in non-league football. Brighton, by contrast, include 3 players who've played in the FA Cup final itself. Number 3, Sammy Nelson, number 7, Jimmy Case, and number 11, Mike Thomas. And 3 more who've played in semi-finals, Graham Mosley, Steve Gatting and Andy Ritchie. But the important team news for them today is the return at number 9 of Michael Robinson after injury. So on a very heavy pitch, Brighton, who this time last year were playing at Old Trafford against Manchester United, find themselves playing down the slope against Barnet. Barnet in yellow shirts. Here's Colin Barnes, number 10, forward by Townsend. And here's Steve Foster for Brighton. A tie which sums up the magic of the cup. Sargent for Barnet, trying to turn Foster and doing so. Got it inside to Barnes. Westwood in the middle, right across, and Mosley able to make it in some comfort. That was on by Jimmy Case. Foster, Barnes. Case again for Brighton, plays the long ball, which in these conditions could well be advisable for both sides. It's put away. Pierce. Sargent, Barnes, good play by Barnes. Still Barnes. Sargent! Oh, and Mosley had needed Nelson's help. So close for Gary Sargent. The ball played in by Colin Barnes, Sargent's header, and Mosley didn't make an awfully good job of the save. And Sammy Nelson was there to assist him in the end. And Sammy Nelson turning rather angrily on Danny Westwood. Little exchange there. Gatting took the kick for Brighton, looking for Ritchie. Thomas. It's his cross, Robinson's in there, so is Foster. Still free, and it's a chance for Ritchie, and Phillips makes a good save, may have been injured in the process. It's a smart piece of goalkeeping when the ball was rebounding dangerously in the Barnet 6-yard area, and he fell at the feet of Ritchie. Westwood. And again. Free kick to Barnet. Gatting's tackle on Westwood. Foster came in afterwards. And it's going to be taken by Watson. Didn't come through to Sargent. McNabb. Plays his second effort. Finds Ritchie. Now he's on his own, is Andy Ritchie, against 2 Barnet players. They're arriving now to his left, and Millett hangs on, and hangs on in the referee's opinion unfairly. Rich is in there. And Danny Westwood gets the ball away for Barnet. Only as far as Nelson. Bit of pushing there, maybe. Rich is in there. What a tangle. Robinson wouldn't go for him. Gatting, good save by Gary Phillips. McNabb. Still the danger there for the non-leaguers. Shanks. Thomas. Foster's up there now. And the goalkeeper saved Barnet there a moment or two ago when Steve Gatting had perhaps the cleanest shooting chance. The angle was never good for him, but my word, Phillips made it almost impossible by blocking it. This is Robinson. Westwood. Barnes. Oh, and Barnes! No. The whistle had already gone. The flag was up on this side. Handball when he first got it. Control with the use of the arm, and the play stopped. And the Barnet fans, thinking they got a goal, found their celebrations quickly cut short. Pitaway's header. McNabb's mistake. Barnes for Barnet. Can he get Townsend in here? Oh, my word! Russell Townsend with a cracker. That was the best attempt of the match, and Colin Barnes laid it on. But what a drive from Townsend. Robinson for Brighton. Plenty of players forward here. One of them is Grealish. Another one is McNabb. Another one is Ritchie. Thomas is inside. Ritchie again. And that's Ritchie shooting wide when well placed. And his expression reflected that. Brighton have not had many direct scoring chances. That was one. And as Ritchie shot wide, Brighton prepared to make a substitution. Neil McNabb comes off. And Gary Stevens, usually a defensive player, comes on. That was Foster. Oh, it's off with that, and Ritchie's in there. It's going to come free to Stevens. And it was saved. The goalkeeper got a touch to it somehow, and it was Stevens almost scoring with his first touch of the ball. Barnet were in a mess. Stevens struck it, but somehow that deflection took it out for a corner. Foster came, what a good header out there. Campbell it was who got it away. Inside to Ritchie. Ritchie's turn, a chip, and Michael Robbie. Oh, what a good clearance there by Campbell at the far post. Brave, decisive, and terribly important, because Robinson is the sort of player who could make something even at an angle like that. And Gary Phillips, as long as you keep them out when they've got a crowd of players in front of you like that, you're doing your job. Stevens. Thomas. Here comes Foster with the goalkeeper. Well taken. Barnet, their nerves jangling a little bit. Must know it's very near the end now. Referee Tony Glasson has signalled to both linesmen. And there it is, a replay for Barnet on Tuesday, and Barry Fry and his team and their supporters have earned the right to that. Brighton, let it be said, will not be complaining. Mike Bailey didn't really fancy coming here. He's got home advantage now. John Collins there, the coach. But Barry Fry's club, with Gary Phillips outstanding in goal, have earned themselves another payday. And they've also got this match to look back on, where with the pride of non-leaguers, they held a First Division side 0-0.
Well, obviously a big payday for Barnet from next Tuesday's replay, and that will be very welcome after a disappointing crowd of only 4,000 for today's game. Barnet manager Barry Fry said the attendance was a joke. If anyone let us down, it was the Barnet public. It was nothing to do with the price increases. Well, the only non-league side to win today was Altrincham, with Barry Whitbread getting a couple of goals in their 4-3 second-round replay win over York. That latest triumph can only enhance Altringham's deserving league ambitions, and perhaps significantly, League Secretary Graham Kelly was a VIP guest at the match. Elsewhere, Barking, Enfield and Kettering all lost to league opposition, while Bishop Auckland's match at Carlisle was abandoned after 72 minutes. The game also finished early for Arsenal keeper Pat Jennings, who went off with a groin injury in the 77th minute of the third-round tie against his former club and cup holders Spurs. It completed a sad afternoon for the Northern Ireland international, who freely admitted responsibility for the goal by Garth Crooks that put Arsenal out. Tonight, Big Pat told me it was probably the worst goal I have let in the whole of my career. I just can't explain how I missed it. The worst thing I did today was to get out of my bed. I should have stayed there. I feel I have let everyone down. Pat's injury, by the way, is likely to keep him out for at least 3 weeks. Well, shortly we'll be hearing first-hand from Watford manager Graham Taylor about his team's 1-0 defeat of Manchester United. Meanwhile, let's pick up a couple more quotes from the managers involved in today's biggest cup shot. First, Mel Sutton after Wrexham's outstanding win at Forest. We thoroughly deserved it. I only hope we get a home draw now, for on today's display we should do well whoever we play. Confidence there from a team third from bottom of the second division. The response from Forest's assistant manager Peter Taylor was predictable. This is a bad day for us. It was a match we so desperately wanted to win. What went wrong, I just don't know. So Forest surprisingly out at the first hurdle, a result not likely to aid manager Brian Clough's recovery. But no problems for last season's losing finalist Manchester City, who beat Cardiff 3-1 with Trevor Francis, one of several players today, to score 2 goals. Alan Brazil got 2 for Ipswich, who came from behind to win 3-2 at Birmingham. Steve Hunt also scored a couple for Coventry, who beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-1. Vince Hilaire got 2 of the goals as Crystal Palace ended Enfield's hopes with a 3-2 victory. And although Simon Garner of Blackburn and Brian Pollard of York grabbed 2 apiece for their clubs, both players were on the losing side against West Bromwich Albion and Altrincham, respectively. Well, when the 4th round is finally sorted out, it will involve 32 teams, but for Monday's draw, 49 clubs will go into the hat as a result of the recent chaos caused by the weather. It might have been 50 if Trevor Ross had not missed an 80th minute penalty for Everton in their 2-1 defeat at West Ham. In fact, that's going to be Trevor's last spot kick, because afterwards he said, "My New Year's resolution is to give up taking penalties." Kevin Hurd also missed a penalty for Leeds at Molineux, but it didn't really matter as he was one of the scorers in an impressive 3-1 win over Wolves.
Well, our last match is between Swansea and Liverpool, and who would have thought that when John Toshak took over as manager of Swansea, then in the 4th division, in February 1978, that they would today stand 9 points ahead of his old team, Liverpool, in the 1st division. That's a miracle in itself, but in the past. In the FA Cup, it's the performance over 90 minutes on the day that counts. Your commentator is Barry Davis.
Both sides begin the year and the Cup under new skippers. Graham Souness taking over from Phil Thompson for Liverpool, and the Yugoslav Ante Rajkovic replacing the former Liverpool player Colin Irwin for Swansea. And the team sheets handed to referee Clive White both show changes. Swansea recall Chris Marustic and Nigel Stevenson at number 3 and number 6. They replaced Jimmy Hadziabdic and Max Thompson. But although the changes are in defence, John Toshak will be looking for improved form from his front players who've not been among the goals lately. Liverpool bring back Terry McDermott to their team. Craig Johnston is injured. Ray Kennedy and David Johnson suspended. Alan Kennedy wears number 8, will surely play at left back, releasing Mark Lawrence into midfield. Sammy Lee is moved down to substitute. It's obviously a very special afternoon for John Toshak, coming immediately after his award of the MBE in the New Year's Honours List, a list which also included his former chairman, John Smith of Liverpool, who was awarded the CVE. We've got a cold, wet and rather blustery afternoon for a match which really is something of a contradiction. Swansea 9 points and 9 places above Liverpool, but such has been the speed of their rise and the status of their opponents that they're looked upon as having an opportunity to bring down the mighty. Here's Colin Irwin, Swansea in white, Liverpool in red. And the first touch for Nigel Stevenson. And the first feel of the ball for Di Davis. Swansea basically with 2 forward, and James here on the left side, the 2 being Curtis and Latchford. Useful. One has to say that although he's now got a free kick, that on a day like this, surely Grobbelaar should have put that over the top. To try and make a catch so close to his line in a swirling wind was asking for trouble. Curtis was looking for the early shot. Obviously feeling that an early test of Bruce Grobbelaar, who's had his problems recently, could be useful from a Swansea viewpoint. He looks unconcerned. James, Thompson. Curtis. And Hansen getting himself on the wrong side. And the free kick given for the challenge on Latchford. We've got a real cup tie atmosphere at the Vetch Field. And it also has a special Welsh flavour. Gary Stanley might have a crack. Does indeed. Oh! And it was allowed to go through. I don't know whether it brushed Leighton James, but Grobbelaar not very happy with the cover. And that really was enough to make his moustache curl. Rush forward, both in person and in numbers. And here's McDermott. Oh, I suspect he changed his mind about 4 times then as to just how he was going to hit that. But he got himself into space. The ball just wouldn't quite arrive as ideally as he would have liked, and he didn't trouble Davis as a result. Stanley. Very important little brush of the forelock. James. He's got in a corner. Mahoney. Still Mahoney. But he didn't really strike it cleanly. As he tried the run through, just didn't get the power when he needed it. Mahoney. Well played by Robbie James. Rush. Dalglish. Whelan. It's not a good ball. Wasn't a good clearance either. And here's Dalglish. And Whelan just to his right. He couldn't slot it through. Irwin does for the second time. Bouncing all over the place. There's Marustic who got it away to Alan Kennedy. And the seemed to have been beaten, but he wouldn't give up. The press box packed to capacity, and they've had plenty of notes to make. Hansen. Rush. Stevenson. Good piece of play by Rush. Able to pull it back nicely, but it fell for Stevenson, another oncoming player. Dalglish. Oh, he worked it beautifully. But the extra touch took the ball away. A fine piece of play by Dalglish. Got himself the space for the shot, but it was deflected wide of the goal. And Thompson up for the corner. Here's Neil. Davis taking it with supreme confidence. Both today's goalkeepers have had their critics in the earlier weeks of the season. Grobbelaar in recent weeks particularly. Neil. Good switch of attack. Mahoney. Rush. Dalglish inside, McDermott behind. Here's Dalglish. Robbed by Rajkovic. McDermott with room and time to cross. And here's Hansen. And the time very well used. And the defender coming forward and not being spotted. So just after the 35th minute, Liverpool take the lead. Had so much time there, McDermott, to measure the cross, and he picked out the man who arrived last and arrived best, Alan Hansen. So the man who got the winner in last season's League Cup opens the scoring in the third round here of the FA Cup. Well, that was a very competitive challenge by Neil. The referee had a very clear view, but the reaction of the crowd tells what they thought about it. Leighton James runs back looking daggers at the linesman. Dalglish. Rush. Lawrenson. James. Curtis. Latchford on the penalty spot. Hansen takes charge. Mahoney could have run to the goalkeeper, but they didn't want to let it do so, it seems. Dalglish. He's got Alan Kennedy in. Rush in the middle, so is Whelan. And the goalkeeper struggling, and finally put in by Rush. Rush the scorer after Whelan had got the header, and Davis, sadly for him, was really nowhere with the cross. And the whole atmosphere has changed. Had one goal, there was just a thread in it, but now there's real comfort for Liverpool, and Swansea have to do to Liverpool what Liverpool did to Swansea in the league at Anfield earlier in the season, come back from 2 down. Here's Leighton James. And 2-0 at half-time it is, with the goals scored by Alan Hansen, and right at the death of the first half, Ian Rush. And what started so well for Swansea is a little bit sour at the halfway point. How good it is to see Vetchfield packed to the rafters. Every seat is taken and every vantage point is being used in spite of the weather. And of course they'll be telling themselves at this moment they're about to see one of the best comebacks of all time in the FA Cup. But even bearing in mind Liverpool's in and out form this season, can any side come back from 2 down to them? Obviously they believe they can. Only Rush forward, but help arriving from behind in the persons of Whelan and Dalglish, who's left now of Whelan. And here is Dalglish. So much time, but he hasn't used it yet. And Rush denied by Davis. McDermott and the goalkeeper able to recover. Really, because McDermott didn't give it enough grief. But how did Dalglish, who had so much time, not bury the opportunity? And I would think, had he done so, he would have buried Swansea's hopes too. Latchford. Bill Thompson just there. Rush. Stanley. Liverpool picking up so many of the pieces. Lovely change of angle by Dalglish. This is Lawrenson. McDermott arriving on the far post. Lawrenson might do it alone. What a lovely ball by Dalglish. By Stevenson. James. Free kick just outside. After Thompson had made a very important interception. Grobbelaar checking the cover on his right post. Swansea with 4 players who will come from his left. Maybe a strike from James. Soon is poised to attack the ball. Oh, fine save! Oh, and it's turned over the top. No wonder they put their heads in their hands as Bob Latchford stabbed at it, and somehow the ball curled up over the top. Rajkovic, really not at all concerned about using his physique. And the 2 skippers not having their happiest moment there. McDermott. The suggestion is that Swansea, well indeed they do, immediately make their substitution. And it's Maxwell Thompson who comes on. And he's replaced Marustic, who's already gone to the bench, as we saw. What's that going to do to the permutation of the team? Thompson has taken a position in defence. The head came down rather than the other way around, and here's Lawrenson. Oh, I say, what finish. What superb finish. There was a man totally sure of what he was going to do. He could have gone down at the attempted tackle and would have got a penalty had he done so. But he waited for the movement and slid the ball under the advancing keeper. And Swansea make their substitution, but surely at the same moment go out of this season's FA Cup competition. Thompson's header. And here's Maxwell Thompson. And there will be shades now of last year when they lost in the opening round 5-0 to Middlesbrough. The irony for John Toshak is that before the third round draw was made, he tipped Liverpool to win the cup. Wonder if he'll be right. John Mahoney, an encampment in the Liverpool half, for which they could now pay very dearly indeed. It's 4 against 1 here. Dalglish went too soon. Neil has now gone too soon and is well offside. They made a bit of a nonsense of that, Liverpool. But here's Dalglish. And here's Whelan. And twice McDermott was the second one denied. And not too much was known by Swansea as the ball came back into play twice. Davis can turn and look at his left-hand post. James. Intended for Latchford. Souness, and again from Rush. That's beautifully done, and so is the finish. Well, the old 1-2, as they say, and another fine finish. Rush and Souness linking so well, and Rush finishing with some aplomb and making it a very cruel score for Swansea. McDermott coming forward, Thompson across. Toshak in reflective mood, understandably so. Souness, and Liverpool were the mighty, as it proved. Graham Souness leading his team to, in the end, a comprehensive victory. But the killer goal was the one on the stroke of half-time from Ian Rush. And John Toshak, big man that he is, has to be big, as I'm sure he will be, in defeat. Dalglish showing a great deal of his old form, and Liverpool showing once again that they have been buried far, far too soon. This year is a different year, but we saw quite a lot of the old Liverpool. And the true Liverpool producing a 4-0 scoreline.
And no complaints at all about that result either. Swansea encountering a slice of uncompromising reality. A brilliant past, but from now on, life can only get harder, I'm afraid. Because those who are used to winning major honours don't let them go easily, as Graham Souness reminds us.
Well, as I said, it's a nice way to start, and if we can keep that going, you never know what we're capable of. We might even win something again this year.
Make a change, wouldn't it?
Well, I hope come May we've got something on the sideboard again. Used to it.
Well, Swansea's defeat by Liverpool completed a bad day for the leading clubs in Division 1. 6 of the top 10 are out at the first attempt, and of the 4 that survive, 1, Brighton, still have a replay on their hands. The full list of the Cup's second and third round matches, including replays that have so far been arranged, are as follows. Second round on Monday, Carlisle v Bishop Auckland, Hull v Hartlepool, and to be arranged, Burnley v Bury. Third round on Monday, Newcastle v Colchester. Tuesday, Barnsley v Blackpool, Notts County v Aston Villa, Shrewsbury versus Port Vale. Replays, Brighton versus Barnet, and Middlesbrough versus Queen's Park Rangers. On Wednesday, one replay, Sunderland versus Rotherham. And finally, third-round matches still to be arranged, those at Gillingham, Millwall, Peterborough and Scunthorpe. Well, one of those cup clubs, Bristol City, is tonight without a manager. Bobby Houghton resigned before today's third division game with Wimbledon, which City lost 3-1. Finally, the pools, and with 9 score draws, 4 of them from the panel, dividends will be very good. Claimed by Telegram for 23 and 24 points, and the score draw numbers are 10, 23, 24, 34, 45, 49, 50, 52, 53. And the 3 no-score numbers are 1, 20 and 40. While on the subject of forecasting, you may remember I hit the jackpot last season with Spurs. So, looking for a repeat, guess who I picked today? Yes, Nottingham Forest. Sorry, Brian.
I should tell you that he picked them when they were, well, as far as I know anyway, when they're already 1-0 up. But that shows the danger of forecasting in this business, especially with a young man like this about, who makes a habit of creating surprises in the Cup. Congratulations, Graham. It was a fine win. Tell me how you did it.
Well, I think that we decided very early on that wherever the ball was on the pitch, we'd try and go and get it. In that respect, I think we probably put Manchester out of their stride a little bit.
Ron Atkinson's made some very flattering quotes, saying the way you played in the first half particularly, you could win the Cup, never mind anything else. I mean, did you really play well even for Watford today?
We played very well, particularly in the first half, yes. I'm not too certain about Ron's comments as much as I appreciate them. I've just seen Liverpool. I'm not too certain that that would stand if we were drawn away at Anfield. Yeah. No, we played very, very well. I was very, very pleased.
Could you clear up about the goal? There was some argument about whether it was an own goal, or we've had one of those tonight in the programme. I mean, what really happened with yours, do you think?
Well, no, I mean, I would give it to Jan Lohman, because the ball has gone over and he's had a header. The keeper saved it. Gary Bailey has saved it. Jan's reacted very quickly and it's going in, and John Gidman, in fact, is trying to do a very good defensive job and clear it off, and he didn't succeed. I think it would be just as unfair on John Gidman to make it an own goal as it would be on Jan Lohman, but there's no way you'll get the goal off Jan Lohman. It's as simple as that.
Strikers always like him, don't they? Who wants to score an own goal. Yeah. About Manchester United, for United fans, I mean, did they play well for them? I mean, or would you say they would be disappointed with their own performance? Or was there nothing they could do in the game?
No, I mean, it would be wrong of me to say that there was never a period of time when Manchester United could score. Of course there was. Steve Sherwood, our goalkeeper, brought off 3 or 4 exceptional saves. Obviously they're bound to be disappointed, as I'm sure we would have been, and I would have been if we'd lost. But I mean, you mentioned Manchester United, it sends a tingle down your spine all of the time. I'm sure they're going.
It doesn't.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure that they'll get over that, and yes, they'll be disappointed, but you know, there's always another game.
Could you clear up one thing about your preparation yesterday? I was told that, on reasonable authority, that you spent it in a restaurant with your staff from 12:15 in the morning till 12:15 at night or something.
Well, I don't think the players know about it. It's not my playing staff, actually my coaching and training staff. We decided it was New Year's Day and the training and the preparation for the game had finished, and none of the administrative staff were in, so we felt it would not be a bad time, really, to sort of just have a drink. And,
a good luck, Owen. You're going to do it again?
Well, they keep asking me to do it again, but I looked at the bill last night and I thought there's no chance of that happening.
Well, last word, 8th in the last 8 of the League Cup, 3rd in the 2nd Division, and in the FA Cup, what's your priority?
Oh, to get promotion to the 1st Division, no doubt about that.
I knew you'd say that. Well done, because it is the most important. Well, finally, the result of the Goal of the Month competition, and it's not an easy one to decide. The so-called experts were in disarray, I can tell you that. But on a majority vote, the winning goal chosen was goal B, scored by Chris White for Arsenal against West Ham.
Phil Parks came for it, is White. It's White with a chance, and he scored.
And the first postcard pulled out with the winning BCE order was sent in by Mrs. S. Vincent of 9 Lindale Avenue, Peel, Isle of Man. Well done, Mrs. Vincent. £100 worth of television licence gift tokens are on their way to you. Well, that's it for tonight. The draw for the 4th round of the FA Cup can be heard on Radio 2 at 12:30 on Monday next. And among those listening with particular interest will surely be Alan Young of Leicester City. For him, it's been a season of injury, misery and frustration, until suddenly today the sun shone again. His 2 goals would have been enough to beat Southampton on their own. And apart from a few fingers and the goalpost, he might well have scored 3. Good night to you.
That's more like it. A real up and under. Katalinic gets there. Driven back by Peake, and that's 1-0. Peake with Armstrong very close to him, did well to make a cross. Oh, what a superb goal! And Young has made it 2-0. Oh, and a great ball by Peake. Young chasing, and he's won it too. Could this be his hat-trick?